This is your Bible Geeks Daily Download into the book, Mark chapters 8 through 12.
In Monday's reading in Mark 8, there's a striking story about Jesus healing a blind man, verses 22 to 26. Jesus takes the blind man's hand and leads him out of town. Then he spits in his eyes and asks, "Do you see anything?"
And he does. Jesus has given a blind man sight, but he doesn't see clearly yet. Everything is blurry. He says, "I see people, but they look like trees walking." But when Jesus laid his hands on him again, he saw everything clearly.
This story kicks off the middle act of the Gospel of Mark, a unit that ends with the healing of blind Bartimaeus in Mark 10, verses 46 to 52. In a way, this whole section is about going from blind to blurry to seeing clearly. First, let's talk about blurry vision.
After healing the blind man, Jesus gets to work healing the spiritual blindness of the disciples. Like the blind man he healed, it's a process. Peter's confession shows that he sees Jesus' true identity. Yet Peter's next conversation with the Lord reveals that he still doesn't see clearly what that means. The two stories of blind men receiving sight form bookends to the heart of Mark's gospel, in which we'll find the book's 3 predictions of Christ's coming death and 3 challenges for disciples to humble themselves and serve others. In this way, our readings on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in Mark chapters 8 through 10 will reveal the surprising future of the Messiah and his followers. Anyone who would consider being the Lord's disciple needs to wrestle with what that means.
Are you ready to take up a cross? Deny yourself and follow the Lord? Are you willing to walk the Lord's counterintuitive path to greatness by becoming the servant of everyone around you?
What do you think the 3 disciples who witnessed Jesus' transfiguration took away from the event?
Now let's talk about the blind.
We'll begin the 3rd and final section of Mark on Thursday in Mark chapter 11. The happy fanfare of the triumphal entry into Jerusalem quickly turns into a clash with religious leaders too blind to understand who Jesus is. What is the message of the cursed fig tree? How does it parallel the cleansing of the temple?
And what do you think the cleansing of the temple is all about?
How might Jesus' actions relate to the coming destruction of the temple in the judgment on Jerusalem? What's the meaning of the temple?
And why do the chief priests and scribes want to kill Jesus?
Who are the tenants in Jesus' vineyard parable?
And finally, what do you learn from the Lord's exchanges with the religious leaders in Mark 12, 13 to 37?
So let's focus together on Mark chapters 8 through 12 this week, and may the Lord bless you and keep you today.
Shalom.